When I started as a grad student, I took a break from Magic, as you do. But I kept up with the community, saw the spoilers for each set, kept an ear to the discussions around them, and generally stayed up to date. When the professor over at Tolarian Community College announced a Kickstarter for their deck box, I was genuinely ecstatic, and it prompted me to get back into the game. Let's take a look at the packaging here. There is always a new adventure. Take a look inside. I think I've actually got some tokens in here too. We'll take a look at these before we take a look at the rest. If I remember right, these are supposed to be treasures and merfolk. But here we've got one of these day-night cards that you can use as a substitute in a sleeveless deck. And yeah, here are these Black Lotus treasures. Very nice. I love these. These are great. And then merfolk, yeah. The professor plays a lot of merfolk. I don't think I've got any merfolk. The only thing really would be Thrasios, but that's not merfolk tribal for me. Alright. Now the actual deck box. I'm going to look at the Tolarian Community College logos here on the sides. And there are two magnets on either side holding this up. You can open them both or just use one as a hinge to open it from the other side. And here's the autographed edition because I was one of the first people to order this. See, my go-to deck box of choice is the Ultimate Guard Boulder here. And it is fantastic. It really is brilliant. I cannot stress enough how much I love these things. But I had been wanting for a while to make a truly special deck. And I feel like a deck like that needs sleeves and a box to go with it. In the time since then, I got my custom sleeves, and I got the cards blinged out how I wanted, with these galaxy foil lands. But now, at long last, the promised time is here. With my sleeves, and my art, and my box, the deck is now complete. So in here, there is definitely enough space for all these. So the commanders aside. Got some tokens there. You can put the deck in here and then the tokens off to the side. But as you can see, there's a little bit more than enough room here for these cards, and there's a size morph divider that I've got that came with it. I'll be putting that in just a second. This is very nice. The feel of this material is without compare. Over here we've got the trays for dice, or whatever else I care to put in here. Fill these up in a moment. I've got some special dice over here as well. I really wanted everything about this deck to be some kind of cool. This is without a doubt my favorite deck. And here I've got these really shiny obelisk looking dice. I'll load these in. That is a nice slide. I also got this gemstone die from the Kickstarter as well. You can see it's got this gold black embossing. More adventures. I don't have an adventures deck. Maybe we'll see more when we go back to Eldraine. That'd be interesting. Gorian Wise Mentor from Baldur's Gate seems like he'd be fun, but even with the adventures from Baldur's Gate and the first time with Eldraine, I don't think there's enough to put something together yet. There are a couple of decks that I feel like are really good, but just don't have the infrastructure they need. But I'll try and build some of them as time goes on. That is the first of these. I did actually get a second one here in a different color scheme, but that first one was just the autographed one. So here's the gray-red one. And you'll see I've got the tokens in here as well. But I really like the color scheme on this one a lot better, I think. Yeah, so here are my tokens again. I'm not really big on tribal decks at all, actually. I tried to build a turtle tribal deck once, there just wasn't the support for it. My very first deck was a tribal deck. It was Dragons Tribal. It was the 2017 Dragons Precon, I think. It was really neat. Yeah, see here, this red and gold. Ah, that's great. The black. Get these silica gel packets out. But yeah, tribal decks just seem like they lock you in to a specific set of cards when there's not much of a need to. If I'm building a merfolk tribal deck and there's a merfolk that synergizes with the rest of my deck and does this one thing, but there's another card that's not a merfolk that does the same thing better and cheaper, or does it in a different way that's more important to me, I'm probably not going to end up playing that card just because it's not going to show up in my search when I look for merfolk cards. That's how people do searches for tribal decks. And I feel like it really holds them back. But also, Turtle Tribal is just a terrible idea. There aren't nearly enough turtles for it. Another kind of deck I don't like are equipment decks. Equipment decks, they split the focus too much. If you don't balance this just perfectly, you either end up with too many equipment and not enough creatures to wear the equipment, or too many creatures that can wear equipment really well, but no equipment to put on them. And the kind of creatures that wear equipment really well tend to not do much else when there isn't any equipment. Probably the best equipment decks are Voltron decks, for that reason, because you can always rely on one creature, your commander, at the very least. Then you just pack the deck with equipment. And that is it. Not much else to this. This is a really slick deck box. I'm looking forward to playing with it. Here's to the next adventure.